Hi, this is Todd Pellegrino with Our Conscious Energy. I admit, when I first heard the term conscious energy, I had no idea what it meant. My close friend Mehrak had been studying metaphysics and energy healing, and I knew she loved crystals, but I wasn't well versed in the details of what she was into. I meditated at times and always considered myself spiritual rather than religious. But when it came to energies, I kind of gave a shrug of indifference and thought, whatever you're into, man. But when Mehrak told me about the work she'd been doing on herself, helping her move past debilitating fears and limited thinking, and empowering herself with an energy that helped her feel in control of her life, I thought, okay, I'm listening. Let me back up a moment and give you some context. I was going through something myself. I'll spare you the nitty-gritty details, but I was struggling big time. Part of it was with addiction, but there was a lot of other stuff too. The lockdown of the pandemic did not treat me kindly, but not as unkindly as I was treating myself. I felt very disempowered with my work, my career in general. I made a lot of easy path decisions. I was clinging to an old lifestyle, yet had 2 young boys to raise, which from time to time I viewed as an inconvenience. I was mad I made a bunch of questionable choices that got me here, yet mostly blamed others. And the blame came because others couldn't live up to a high standards that I myself fell very short of. The list of character defects went on and on. I felt lost, like really lost. I did things I thought would make me happy, and they didn't. I remember saying to a therapist, on paper my life is incredible, but I feel miserable. Why? I'll fast forward a bit because this story is a story all unto itself. But eventually I recognized my truth and started to come out of this dark period. Things were on the rise, but there was a residual anger and hopelessness that would creep in from time to time. I was still checkered by fear and doubt. Enter Mehrak. Mehrak talked to me about what she went through also, and in our many conversations, she talked about conscious energy. And it's not always an easy concept to grasp, but eventually it made sense. First, let's start with some hard science. We are energy. Fact. Zoom down to the atomic level, and all we are swirling particles vibrating at various frequencies held together by unseen forces. Yet zoom out, back to the human level of perspective, and we're complex beings filled with a plethora of emotions who love, laugh, cry, scream in frustration, dream big, and despite all empirical evidence that this existence just ends without purpose, we continue every day in pursuit of hope and meaning. And this is all driven by, okay, zoom back down, swirling particles of energy. We always go on. Why? Because we're powered by an energy that is alive, conscious, and reminds us from time to time we're all connected. But what is that energy? Well, that's not an easy answer. This is the part that lives near the intersection of science and faith. We can't prove it, but we know it's there. The truth lives amongst the highest existential questions like, who are we, or what is the meaning of life? It's a giant unknown, and we usually go about our days not concerning ourselves with it because we're busy people and have things to do. Asking those questions are only counterproductive to whatever it is we're trying to do. Make money, raise productive children, find companionship, get in shape, look good, act cool, and become the person others want to be. Ego-driven aspirations, if you will, and mind you, some of those are very good aspirations. But sometimes these aspirations are misguided, or only illusions of what we think will make us happy. I remember a few years back, I got a car I once thought far outside my reach, and sitting behind the wheel that first night, I was overcome with excitement and joy. I played with every switch and gadget, making it mine. But about 4 to 5 weeks later, I remember having this feeling about that car that, well, it was just a car. I still love that car, but did it bring me lasting joy? No. We get things we think will make us happy, and soon after, we get that dreaded sense of, okay, now what? What I've come to realize is that real joy, everlasting joy, comes from somewhere else. As I mentioned, I consider myself spiritual rather than religious. I was baptized Catholic, raised Protestant, and married Jewish. I don't necessarily identify with any one of those faiths per se. It's just, in my heart, I believe the one truth I can get behind is, I don't know. And that it's okay to say, I don't know. I don't know is an excellent starting point, far better than no. The atheist who says, this existence is meaningless, we die, and then there is nothing, so just enjoy yourself, is really making a certain leap of faith by saying this because ultimately, they really don't know. Which is why, again, my belief is, I don't know. And for as long and hard as I pursue the truth, all I'll be left with in the end is I don't know. But the key is the pursuit. It is the pursuit of the truth, the pursuit of happiness, where we develop a sense that there is something more. And only in that pursuit do we establish a connection to it, whatever it is. And spoiler alert, there is no finish line. not until death. But regarding that, again, I don't know, and neither do you. Pause. Okay, what the heck is Todd smoking? Who's your ayahuasca shaman? What is their number? I know, but I'll tell you, these ideas only really came to be cemented as truths for me with a very clear head and a willingness to pursue them. A pursuit perhaps rooted in desperation, and one where no answers were found until one day they were. And not in the form of concrete information, but rather in a feeling, a perspective, a belief that we are all connected and powered by a conscious energy, and that everything is going to be okay. It was like I was staring at an audio stereogram, and suddenly what mattered came into focus, and what didn't remained fuzzy colors. This is an energy that has been called many things since the dawn of mankind, and it is something we've always known to be there, even unconsciously. Bringing it back to Mehrak and I, both of us were or had been suffering, each in our own ways. And if there was an energetic fuel out there that empowers us, then why did we feel so drained and lost? Why were we experiencing mild depression all the time and negative thinking? Here's the problem. Energy can get stuck. If you think of our conscious energy as this massive river and all living things and non-living things as tiny tributaries or streams that branch off of it, sometimes debris can dam up those pathways and the flow slows or stops. The river keeps churning, but the stream, you and I, can dry up. The question then becomes, metaphorically, what is the debris and how do we remove it? Before I answer that, I want to talk to you about frequencies. I know we're going in a lot of different directions, but I promise it'll all tie together in a nice bow. But seriously, frequencies. Energy exists in waveforms. Light waves, sound waves, waves in the ocean, waves at a baseball game, and tiny vibrational movements on the atomic level that bring all matter into existence. Have you heard of absolute zero? It is the coldest possible temperature where all thermal energy is removed. Particles stop moving and matter quite literally falls apart. Don't worry, it has not been achieved, even in the depths of space, as atoms need to move to exist. And by moving, they vibrate radiating energy at various frequencies. And what vibrational frequency they are moving at is how they manifest physically, mentally, and emotionally in all of us. If you've never seen the science experiment, where various sound waves make different shapes with sand, go to YouTube right now. I'll wait. Just use the keyword resonance experiment and prepare to be amazed. See it? Pretty cool, huh? Different frequencies manipulate sand into unique patterns just from their energy waves. And when you change the frequency, the shape changes. And when you go back to the original frequency, the shape returns to its previous form. Pattern and frequency are intertwined. In the human body, the same thing happens, only some of the patterns that manifest are in the form of emotions and their corresponding thoughts. Side story. Did you know the word emotion stems from the Latin word ex for out and mover for move, which then evolved into the French word émouvoir, meaning excite, and later became émotion. It sounds so much better in French, I think. Man, if I could only speak French, I'd feel like 30% sexier. But essentially, emotion is energy in motion, or emotion, which would be a great name for a .com startup, and I'm sure somebody's probably already taken it. Sorry, I digress. When the energy slows down, bad things happen. The more you know. Psychiatrist and physician Dr. David Hawkins, who wrote a book called The Map of Consciousness Explained, which outlines how each level of consciousness and corresponding emotion correlate with the different frequency levels. For example, when we feel anger, the frequency of the affecting energy is 150 megahertz. When we feel joy, the frequency is 540 megahertz. The higher the frequency, the higher our level of consciousness and the closer we move towards enlightenment. Our emotions are directly connected to energy frequencies. And again, just to confirm, no, I haven't smoked anything. Listen, this part gets a little woo-woo, and honestly, you don't have to swallow the whole pill right now. To be honest, from time to time, I think even part of the pill is still lodged in my throat. But what I came to understand is that when I was feeling down, hopeless, and lost, I was able to change those feelings to optimism, hope, and focus by changing my energy. And no outside stimulus changed, just my perspective of it. And with that perspective came empowerment, setting me off in the right direction. The fear and the limiting beliefs I once held were lifted. The debris that was damming up my stream was unclogged. And some of the tools I used to remove that dam was what Mehrak had taught me. She is many things, and energy healer is one of them. Not a Reiki healer, but just an energy healer. She taught me how to move my energy to connect with the greater conscious energy. Our Conscious Energy is a company I have had the honor of developing with her this past year. It's young, it's new, and I'm sure with feedback it will evolve in time to something even greater. And to be fair, she wrote the whole thing. But hey, I asked a lot of great guiding questions and was an excellent sound engineer. I'm a producer of OCE, but more so, an evangelicist of the work Mehrak has been doing with myself and others. And the online course is just one small piece of that, where she discusses the 7 chakras. I haven't even told you about chakras. Think energy centers. And how to keep the conscious energy moving through them to live your best life. Feeling sad doesn't mean you're sad. You just need to recognize the feeling as an energy that needs to run its course through you. And Mehrak will help teach you how to move it along. If I'm honest, the work I've done on myself the past few years involved many things, but the philosophy and the practices Mehrak has taught me were instrumental. So what is this course? Well, a large portion are Mehrak's teachings to help develop a foundational knowledge of the inner workings of our energy systems and how it moves through us, how each chakra relates to a different level of consciousness or emotional state, and what happens when the energy gets stuck versus moves freely. The rest are daily practices, whether they be meditations, physical poses, various activities, and journal prompts to get you thinking about where you are in the spectrum and where the work needs to go. It's a toolkit, a box of crayons for you to fill in your life with the right color and allow you to shine. I recently asked Mehrak who she felt this course was for. Who is her ideal customer? I was certain it was someone who had been suffering like me, someone who was struggling, but her response caught me by surprise. She said it was for the person who is seeking something more in life, someone who maybe has a lot of the things we were taught we needed to be happy, but still feels there is something missing, something we can't quite put our finger on, a connection to the unseen energetic force that moves around us and through us and gives us a power if we choose to tap into it, a conscious energy, our conscious energy. I hope you feel inspired to check it out. It's no more than a few moments a day. It's like brushing your teeth, spiritual hygiene, if you will. And if you're interested, you can receive 10% off by using the code SEEKER10, as well as a 7-day trial for free. Also, as part of the purchase, at least for now, you will get one free consultation with Mehrak to answer any questions you may have, discuss issues you struggle with, and set your intentions and ensure you start off with the right mindset. And within those 7 days, if you're like, I call BS, you totally smoked something, I don't know what you're talking about, Todd, this ain't for me, you can cancel the order and will not be charged. Or if you have any questions or slightly on the fence, reach out. Email Mehrak and myself at Mehrak, spelled MEHRAK, at ourconsciousenergy.com. Don't worry, we both read it. And we'll support you the best we can. But if you're going to try it, I encourage you to really pursue it, because the results come in the willingness of pursuit, in opening yourself up to a connection, and in finding peace and serenity you deserve. Be a seeker. Seek it out, and it'll come.